dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News Weekend Edition.
Good morning, I'm Taylor Upchurch. Today is Saturday, March 23rd. Missing since last month. Crews were out searching for Danny Tin Can Napier yesterday morning, this time with dogs. Emergency responders believe he fell into the North Fork of the Kentucky River at the end of February when the river was very high. WYMT's Macy Marie has more on the search and also talked with Napier's niece about his disappearance.
Missing for a month.
I pray that they can find him.
Searchers took dogs and boats down the North Fork of the Kentucky River in Perry County, looking for Danny Tin Can Napier on Friday.
We've had a lot of people assisting in this for the last month.
Perry County Emergency Management Director Jerry Stacy says several organizations joined the search, something Napier's family says they're grateful for.
It means a lot.
Nikki Stidham says a lot of people looking for her uncle know him. She describes her uncle as a caring man.
He loves kids a lot. Now, he bought us a trampoline about every summer when we were little.
And she would love to share those memories with her uncle again.
I would give anything for them to find him and him be okay, or him, but...
Afraid, though,
it's been so long.
that time is not on their side. In Perry County, Macy Marie, WYMT Mountain News.
Anyone with information about Napier's disappearance is asked to call Kentucky State Police Post 13 at 606-435-6069. And now let's check in with meteorologist Paige Noel for a look at your forecast this morning. Paige, it sounds like the only thing folks need to worry about today is having their sunglasses on hand.
Oh, that's right, Taylor. It's going to be very sunny today, and that's a little bit of some good news. We are waking up to a little bit of frost on those cars this morning, but overall pretty calm conditions as we look at US 119 and US 23 in Jenkins. That sun is just now starting to rise. Now dealing with fog really as well, and as we look at the hazard camera, you can see that sun starting to rise over the mountains, and those temperatures, they're very chilly into the upper 20s. You're definitely going to need that jacket early this morning. We're seeing those upper 20s to lower 30s across all of eastern Kentucky, so feeling a little bit like winter outside, but I promise we'll feel more like spring as we head into the afternoon. Now, as you'll notice on satellite and radar, you'll see no clouds. That's why we're very chilly tonight. We had those winds from the northwest overnight, bringing in a little bit of that cooler air as that cold front moved through a little bit later yesterday. Now, as we look at the headlines, you'll notice for today we'll continue to see that sunshine and warmer temperatures, but really we warm up quite nicely for your Sunday as well. A few more clouds for your Sunday before those scattered rain chances start to return. We'll talk about that and more coming up in my full forecast in just a little bit. Taylor.
All right, thank you, Paige. Officers with the Hazard Police Department want to warn you about a scam that's making the rounds again. The scam involves someone calling and saying a family member of yours is in jail. Sometimes they'll even have the name of that person and someone pretending to be them. The scammers will say you need to send money to them to bail your loved one out. Police say they will usually ask for gift cards or a money order, which is definitely a red flag.
Use caution when you're dealing with anybody, requesting money or credit card numbers, anything like that.
WYMT's Justin Case talked with one local woman who wants you to know what this scam sounds like. Gail Muncie is a Hazard native who also serves on the Black Gold Committee. She's seen many scams in her life, but she says this was the most realistic one she's encountered.
Wednesday afternoon, Gail Muncie was at a funeral when she received a concerning call.
I got a call from one of the members of church telling me that my husband wanted me at home immediately, that we'd had a family emergency.
The caller claimed he was an attorney and that her grandson had been arrested.
He told me that he wasn't in any trouble, that he had done nothing wrong except was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Muncie says her grandson was just traveling for a wedding, and some of the details he had were surprisingly plausible.
He said I can get him out within 2 hours this afternoon. Otherwise, he's going to have to stay here 6 weeks.
The man said her grandson was a passenger in a car that was pulled over and that drugs were found inside. He said his bail was $8,000.
You won't be out any money. He said within 3 days after the judge rules, said, you will get a check back from the courts.
Muncie asked if she could give him her credit card number over the phone. He said no. He said he would need Walmart gift cards. That sent up a red flag, causing Muncie to hesitate and then call her grandson.
He said, would you want me to FaceTime you to prove where I am? I said, yes, please do. And he did, and he was at home.
Police say these kinds of scammers will typically ask for gift cards or things that are not easily traceable.
If you use the debit card or some kind of instrument like that, then that could be tracked, or it's creating a trail of where investigators could follow.
Making sure you have a level head before making costly decisions. In Perry County, Justin Case, WYMT Mountain News.
Police say if you fall victim to one of these scams, it's almost certain you will not be able to get your money back. And you've probably heard that the Federal Black Lung Fund for minors or their widows is at risk, and that's true, but it's also been in financial turmoil for quite some time. The fund has been deeply in debt for years. The tax on coal that funds it has remained at the same level since the 1980s. Experts at the Appalachian Citizens Law Center say an inability to act by the federal government cut those taxes in half. As of now, there's not really an answer for how to solve the problem.
The solution is either those rates go back to a level that would sufficiently fund the trust fund, or taxpayers are going to be on the hook. The scary proposition for our clients is if taxpayers...
Local lawmakers have said they will continue to fight for minors with black lung and work to find sustainable solutions for the problem. A grand jury indicted a man in connection with a deadly Knox County stabbing. Police arrested Jeffrey Hammonds in February. They say he killed Charles Davidson. Investigators told us he stabbed Davidson multiple times with a kitchen knife. Davidson faces murder and tampering with evidence, among other charges. And yesterday was an off day for the University of Kentucky in Jacksonville, so our Will Puckett took a trip to the location of the UK pep rallies and learned more about their signature spirit.
So just across the St. Johns River, over there, is a distillery called Manifest Distillery that's been here in Jacksonville since 2015. That is the location of the University of Kentucky Alumni Association's pep rallies before the Kentucky Games taking place here in Jacksonville this weekend. There, they distill many spirits, but one of their most populars is rye whiskey, a whiskey that has deep United States roots, even deeper than our beloved bourbon.
We've actually been making rye whiskey in the United States much longer. Historically speaking, George Washington was once the largest producer of rye whiskey in the United States at Mount Vernon. Congress only declared bourbon as our national spirit back in 1964. So bourbon has quite a history here, but rye does as well.
So when Big Blue Nation takes over Manifest Distillery for the second day this weekend, they'll be able to try rye whiskey. And keep in mind, all bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon. Always drink responsibly. In Jacksonville, Will Puckett, WYMT Mountain News.
The game is scheduled to tip off at 2:40 right here on WYMT to get you ready for the matchup with Wofford. Wildcat warm-up begins at 11:30. The winner between the Wildcats and Wofford will move on to Kansas City for the Sweet 16 next week. And today is yet again another big day for sports fans in the Big Blue Nation. The men's team is getting ready for Wofford and Jacksonville, but the women's team is back in the NCAA tournament after not making it last year. WYMT's Willie Hope sat down with two Eastern Kentucky products, Blair Green and Macy Morris, and talked with them about their special bond.
Their bond virtually started at birth.
I wouldn't say we were forced to be friends because I'm pretty sure she wanted to be my friend.
Macy Morris and Blair Green grew up as close friends, not even being rivals in high school.
Sometimes she would always talk a little talk, more Macy, but
could separate them.
It just make me mad and make me more competitive.
Now teammates at the University of Kentucky, both heralded in-state recruits. Their connection, though,
Kindergarten. Yeah, kindergarten.
a memory their mothers share.
We're not going to tell you how long. That's a long time. 45 years. 45 years.
It all started during a coal boom all the way down these halls of Harlan Independent. It was the 1980s.
Really, Harlan wasn't very good up until that point.
And the Lady Dragons were struggling.
They had never won a district championship and never really been a factor in the 13th region.
In deep search of a diamond in the rough, enter teammates Debbie Hoskins and Patty Myers.
But when they got there, they kind of turned the thing around at Harlan.
It was a chance meeting in Sunday school that culminated in the two leading the program to new heights years later.
Ended up winning the first regional tournament, winning a game in the state tournament.
That was 1987, their senior year. Hoskins and Myers signed with different colleges, but time and distance would not stand in their way.
I think we get along so good because we have the same mindset about everything.
The two were inseparable.
Almost like we're sisters.
Fast forward to today, and that bond is even more relevant with Macy and Blair.
I love having Macy here, but like just having someone to look up to if I have any questions.
3 years separate them. Macy a senior and Blair a freshman.
I mean, I love Blair, and she is my little sister, so I want to see her be the best she can be.
But it's that connection.
And then just someone who's like, just kind of takes me through the ropes and shows me what to do.
That's helping in some ways to build Kentucky back to national prominence.
Basketball is is our first priority, so they just we didn't have to force it, it was just natural to them.
After all, their friendship started before they could ever comprehend it.
Blair and Macy suit up with the Wildcats today in round number 1 of the NCAA tournament. Their first round game is against Princeton. That game will start in just a few hours at 11 a.m. You can watch it over on ESPN2. And coming up on Mountain News this morning, Lake Cumberland is continuing to go down. We will have an update on its condition coming up next. And later in sports, just like we mentioned, the Kentucky women's basketball team gets their NCAA tournament journey started in just a few hours. Tommy Poole has more on their matchup in just a few minutes.
And we have plenty of sunshine on the way for your Saturday, but does that continue into your Sunday? We'll break down that full forecast next.